Greetings, fellow hostages. Captain Black here. Today's topic, Black folks, the Lone Ranger ain't coming. I can understand after the 1960s where we saw the government, which ironically, behind the curtain, was undermining both mainstream civil rights and fringe black nationalist efforts. We've come to see the government as our friend. We look at the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, the moribund shell of affirmative action, the discontinued practice of minority set-asides, goals, timetables, diversity, inclusion, DBE programs, and some of us think that this means that these distant white folks and their black employees have pulled us to their bosom and will make life fair for us. Fellow hostages, I hate to disabuse you with this, but the Lone Ranger ain't coming. The idea that a benevolent white man on his white horse is riding from the sunset to take care of black problems is fantasy. It's hogwash. And while there are righteous white people who do care deeply about our cause, the preeminent question of our time is, how deeply do we care about our cause? As we look at white folks standing guard in front of recruitment centers, I can think about as recently as last night when myself and Brother Al Mims, New Orleans' #1 anti-crime activist and mentor, stood guard for free in front of an inner city youth center. Adjacent to the youth center was a football field where, understandably, a group of young men were doing scrimmage for their football team. Unbeknownst to any of us, but not surprising to me, a conflict ensued across the street. A pistol was produced, and only because of, I'll say, divine intervention. The pistol brandisher did not shoot at his fleeing target who ran, you guessed it, to the field. That which you love, you guard. We can wait for the police, we can wait for some nonprofit, and for those of us who are on the big time payroll, we can wait for George Soros to cut a check or send a direct deposit, however he pays his black puppets. But the Lone Ranger ain't coming to save us. We are going to have to save ourselves. Despite the fact that we pay taxes, despite the fact that some of us vote, despite the fact that on paper we are American citizens, none of that alters the fact that top-down solutions do not work for us. It's argued they don't work for anybody, but we know particularly they don't work for us. My group, SWS, Security Within Self, unites protection-minded folks like me with prevention-minded people. And we have, among our many commonalities, this one master trait. We provide free security for the black community, whether that is patrolling, whether that is mentoring, whether that is school reform. We do it for free, and we do it not sounding corny, because we care. We realize that the Lone Ranger does not have us on his flight plan. We realize that the problems in our neighborhoods, the problems with our youth, the problems with our schools are our problems, and we must solve them. There is an unholy gravy train which is accrued from black problems being managed by white people and their black employees. We can continue in this slave role where we look upon high, waiting for the Lone Ranger to come, or we can suit up and start trying to solve our problems ourselves. Now, there are a lot of black people who aren't headline hunters, who aren't trying to be media darlings, who every day, out of their hearts and their wallets, bring security, bring mentoring, bring education reform to parts of our population which desperately need them. They don't charge anything for their services, and they don't even ask for a thank you. In the 21st century, as we see such a diminishing return on our vote and on the promise of integration, we would be well served to start looking at models of self-help. Whether you look at SWS, my group, whether you look at Conscious Concerned Citizens, Controlling Community Changes, C6, Coach Frank's group, which has cornered the local market on fighting the charter school takeover of our majority black school district. Start looking at these private models. Start getting in when you fit in, and start providing free security for yourself, whether that's protection, whether that's prevention. Because black folks, the Lone Ranger ain't coming, and what is coming threatens to destroy us all.